Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. We are Family Homeschoolers. Today I wanted to show you inside the brand new Language Arts and Literature Level 4 from The Good and the Beautiful. First of all, you get course books part 1 and 2. It's recommended to get the quick reference guide for levels 4 through 8. You'll get an answer key. Recommended but not necessary is a spelling book to go along with their app. For literature, you get Whisper Creek, which is a parent and student read aloud with discussion questions and reviews and challenging words and vocabulary. And the student will read Leo and the Lighthouse, which is a pretty thick novel, and Nettie's Letters, also another thick book, but looks like very comfortable reading. Okay, let me show you inside the course books. Okay, starting in level 4 of the Good and the Beautiful Language Arts, the course books are written to the student and are mostly student-led, with the parent checking the work and, of course, doing the child-parent reader together. The kid will be studying literature, writing, spelling, grammar and usage, punctuation, art, geography, and vocabulary. So let's take a look at about this course. All right, so the lesson breakdown. A typical lesson includes your Read Together book, vocabulary reading skills, which you will use the app for, grammar. You will also use videos on the app, a reading and writing section, which will cover art, literature, geography, and poetry, include reading comprehension. There will be a literature section, and then you'll have a spelling practice to do on the app. There are 2 project lessons per unit. Then there's a unit assessment at the end. There are optional songs on the app if your child learns grammar concepts better through music. Their spelling philosophy is that children learn to become stronger spellers by reading more books. So they practice spelling in a different way. Okay. Moving on. The student goes at their own pace. They do recommend starting their typing course, although it's not necessary, but definitely recommended. These are the art supplies needed. You'll need a set of watercolors, a palette, watercolor paper, numbers 1, 2, 3, and 6 pointed tip brushes, and a number 6 flat brush, and access to Google Maps. Okay, Unit 1 overview. The theme is going to be castles around the world. The main message is the blessing of siblings. The correlated books are going to be Read Together Whisper Creek Part 1 and the independent book Leo and the Lighthouse Part 1. There's a section on what you will cover for grammar, what you will cover for spelling rules, reading comprehension. Focus will be geography, literature, art, and poetry this unit. Let's see, literature, you'll be reading about poet Dora Reed Goodale. Literature topics, poetry topics, what you'll be learning from geography. Vocabulary words, you will be making pumpkin soup and doing a watercolor painting. Let's see, and the things that you will learn in writing. You'll be keeping a gratitude journal, writing sentences that shine, stories that sparkle, and topics taught in powerful paragraphs. Okay, so Lesson 1 overview. You're going to read Chapter 1 of Whisper Creek with your parent. And then it talks you through how to go online and set up your account on the Good and the Beautiful app. Then you'll watch a video which will introduce your grammar topics, and they're going to be reviewing nouns, verbs, and adjectives in lesson 1. On the next page, you have an activity to go along with the grammar topic. The next page is literature, and you're going to be reading about this author. Then you have literature reading comprehension, so you're going to read, the student will read chapter 1 of Leo and the Lighthouse, and these activities, which are sentences that shine, and the characters in the story go along with the chapter they just read. At the bottom of the page, it says make sure you do your spelling. So you will go on the app, and it will run your child through some exercises, and whichever words they spell wrong, they'll write down in their spelling book. And if they don't spell anything wrong, they have nothing to write down that day. So they really only work on the words that they struggle with. Okay, and that's it for lesson 1. Lesson 2, you're starting out with Read Together book, and then the child will do their gratitude journal, and it constantly gives them penmanship advice. So make sure all your letters are sitting on the bottom line. Your parent needs to check that. Then you have a grammar video working on adverbs. Over here, Leo in the Lighthouse. These are some sentences that they pulled out of the story you'll be working on. Working on adverbs. Then you're going to get into writing sentences that shine. And then you're going to do read chapter 2 of Leo in the Lighthouse. And then you have to write 3 or more sentences. Explain what you have learned about Pastor Hill. Use 1 or more of these transitional words as first, second, also, in addition, another thing. Start sentences with capital letters, end each sentence with a period. Over here you have the power of poetry and a couple poems to go through. Don't forget to do your spelling. And then it says at any time of day, read a chapter from any book that your child loves. So I'm just going to flip through the pages now until I find something that's different. Over here we're starting geography, and it's working on cardinal directions. There will be diagramming. Okay, bare facts notes. So the child's going to get step-by-step instructions on a video on the app. Then they're going to go through these 2 articles right here, and they're going to write down only the bare facts. No opinions, no fluff, just exactly the meat and potatoes of the passage. Okay, then you're going to read chapter 4 of your book. Vocabulary review. Don't forget your spelling. Oh, and read chapters, let's see. Oh, these are the vocabulary from chapters 1 to 3 of Whisper Creek. So this is reviewing words you've already gone over in your Read Together book. Working on paragraphs. How to make your paragraphs more powerful, more interesting. The importance of reading good books. Directions on editing. Reading comprehension about the artist and their life. More geography on castles around the world. So pictures of some castles, where on the earth they're located. That looks like fun. Independent clauses. Coordinating conjunctions. More taking bare facts notes. Studying Germany for geography. Okay, you're going to write a good, powerful paragraph on castles in Europe. Let's see here. Oh, here's your art project. This is the project for lesson 1. You're going to be making a thoughtful note, and you're going to add a painting to your note. So that'll be fun. More poetry. Run-on sentences. More editing instruction. The importance of siblings. I like that. We are a large family, lots of siblings in this house. There's a chance to write something big here. All right, include at least 2 vivid verbs, include at least 3 adverbs, include at least 3 adjectives. And you're going to use an outline that you created in the last lesson for the Aesop fable to rewrite the story in your own words. Expand your story to fill at least this page, and then if you can use the next page, that's great. So it's encouraging them to write a little bit more. More paragraphs, more vocabulary review, compound sentences, possessive plural nouns. Here is the pumpkin soup they're going to be making. Okay, here is a review, the end of the unit review here. So your child will just do the sections in purple, and you correct them. If they get them right, they move on. If they struggle with them, they do the sections in orange under your supervision to make sure they understand the concept. And then we move on to Unit 2 overview. So the theme will be lighthouses around the world. The blessing of work. You're still reading Whisper Creek together. You're still reading Leo and the Lighthouse. And then you have different geography topics and your art projects. I think you're focusing on photography. So the lessons kind of loop. Poetry, geography, writing, vocabulary. I really like how they ask you questions based on the chapter book that the child is reading. So that encourages them to get the reading done because the next activity is asking about the chapter they just read. And because Mom has the teacher book, you know what the answers are supposed to be, so you know if your child actually read the story or not. Okay, so that's the gist of course book part 1. Oh, here it looks like a painting project. Talking about photography, taking a picture from different angles and different lighting. Okay, so flip through here a little bit faster. Oh, there's the lighthouse project. Oh, you get to put a note in with this one. That's neat. It's a pop-up card. Okay. More geography. Islands of the world. Oh, must have started a new unit. Okay, so Unit 3 overview is plants and gardening. appreciation for plants, still reading Whisper Creek and Leo in the Lighthouse. Let's see, art projects, owl bookmark and a thoughtful note with a watercolor painting. Yep. So it just changes the information and it keeps going with the, I like how the lessons are predictable. So the student will get to this and be like, oh, I know how to do bare facts. I've already done that a few times. And then again, you get your videos on the app, which tell you what to do. And this one is a review. Nouns, verbs, adjectives, adverbs, abbreviations. More paragraph writing. Keeping up with that gratitude journal. Here it is, read chapter 38 of Leo in the Lighthouse. And then you have to write a sentence to answer the question. Life on Monaghan Island. Commas in a series. Independent clauses, coordinating conjunctions. Cartography. Okay, this one is a personal opinion paragraph. Oh, let's see. Poetry work. Hawaiian Islands. I think this will be really interesting for my 12-year-old. People have younger kids working in this series, but we came to this series a little bit late. So she's doing this for middle school. And she's comfortable with it, so that's what we go with. I want her to feel successful, yet still be a little bit challenged, and be checking in with me every day, but not feel completely dependent on me, that she can't move on without me. So we've been really happy with this curriculum. We've been with it for about 3 years now. Okay, so that is course book 1. Let's just fly through course book 2 real quick, and then I'll show you the other books. Let's see what we have here for topics. All right, the theme is France, historical fiction, the power of historical fiction. You're going to be reading Nettie's Letters. I believe we're all done with the together reading by the time you get to course book 2. You'll be studying Vincent van Gogh, acrylic painting, making a French yogurt cake recipe. You can tell what I'm interested in. I like the art and the cooking. But geography's fun too. And it's one less thing I have to teach. The vocab and reading skills are always on the app. So the app will read the paragraphs to the child and pause, and the child will read it back and try to make sure that they're pronouncing everything the way that they did on the app. So that's a good way to teach them proper vocabulary and, you know, without pronouncing the words funny. Helps mom out a little bit. Okay, I'm going to start flipping. Some more Van Gogh. Let's see, we're doing end in punctuation within quotations for grammar. More editing, capitalization, titles. Another poetry unit. Okay, here is the yogurt cake. Yum yum. Vocabulary review. Now we're in Paris, France. more paragraph writing, grateful journal, helping verbs, powerful paragraphs, types of sentences, editing, French murals, contractions. Okay, the next unit is Italy and family. The message is the blessing of parents and grandparents. Still working on Nettie's letters for reading. Still working on your spelling through the app. Don't forget your spelling. Let's see, still working on the creative writing and the grammar. Attention grabbing openings, summarizing an informative paragraph, a thesis statement. You'll be using acrylic paint. You'll be making nochi, which I did last year with my older daughter, and that was fun. But she was using the older book, which is pretty as well, but this one is, I like it so much better. How to summarize. When you see one of these, you're going to be, there will be a song on the app to help your child remember the difference between action and being verbs, if they need that. Remember to go, when you see a little green box, go to the app, and the app will help you with that. Reading and vocabulary. Remember to get your spelling done on the app. Tuscany. Oh, this one is Roman architecture. Nice. Olive farming. Oh, here's your painting of an olive branch, which will go on a note card. What was that? Oh, there's your thought photo. Venice, Italy. Violins. All right, literature. What is a plot? Exposition, conflict, rising action, climax, falling action, resolution. Verb tenses, volcanoes, a thesis statement. This one's called Ask a Grandparent. Prepositions and prepositional phrases. Ooh, pizza. Okay, here's your how to make nochi lesson. Okay, in this section called Stories That Sparkle, this is option 1. It says read what has already been written for the story and then follow the steps to finish the missing parts. And then it has steps 1 through 6, and it tells you, you know, write an adverb in here, write an adjective in there, you know, continue the sentence, you know, fill in X, Y, and Z. If you don't want to do that, option 2, write your own story or write a story based on the outline below. Include the checklist of items. If you want to write a longer story, use your own paper. So you need at least 3 adjectives and at least 3 adverbs. You can write your own story, and if you're stuck, you can follow this outline, beginning, middle, and end. A boy and his family are visiting the island of Capri, Italy. They decide to hike to the mountaintop that ends at the site of an ancient castle ruins known as Barbarossa Castle. Okay, so that's how you start your story. And then in the middle of the story, they experience interesting views along the trail. Joey becomes fatigued and feels like they'll never reach their final destination. Discouragement sets in and he wants to turn around. So how would you write about that? And then in the end, suddenly Joey spots a piece of ancient stone, and his curiosity helps him push through the final stretch. They reach the mountaintop and walk through the castle ruins, taking in the spectacular view from the high spot on the island. Joey is pleased that he reached the end and did not give up. So that's your outline, and you can write that story or make up your own. And they have quite a few of those in here. Again, vocabulary and reading skills on the app. Read your next chapter of Nettie's letters. Make sure you do your spelling. Moving through the Alps. Working on sentences. This one is practicing dialogue between 2 or more people. All right, here's another review. Parts of speech, irregular plural nouns. Oops. Let's see, quotations, capitalizations, words that can be nouns or verbs, and abbreviations. Unit 6 overview. Switzerland and author's intent are the main themes. The main messages, the power of writing and the power of words. You're finishing up Nettie's letters. Let's see here. For the art project, you need acrylic paints. You're going to do a book report and a Swiss landscape acrylic painting. And of course, tons of practice in writing. There's your geography. Patricia St. John is your author. For your literature focus, let's see, working on powerful paragraphs. Parallel construction verbs. Comparative superlative adjectives, 2 syllables. Working on summarizing. Your sentence diagramming. It's getting a little bit more complex. More poetry. Vocabulary review. And every day you're reading a chapter in your book. Here's your painting on a landscape. Still keeping up with your Grateful Journal. More summaries. Contractions, cheese and chocolates. More vocabulary. Relative clauses. Punctuating relative clauses, who and that. Geneva, Switzerland. More powerful paragraphs. They start you out with topic sentence, the main information, and cut and tape. So, there are 3 simple steps to blank. You have to fill in what you're teaching them to do. The first step is to such and such. The next step is to that. And then finally you do this. I think my daughter last year wrote instructions on how to make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Okay, I'm wondering where the cut and tape let's see, somewhere there is a paragraph for you to cut apart, and then you have to put it in this order. I wonder where that is. Might be in the back of the book or something. Okay, here's your book report. Book discussion on Nettie's letters. And this is your last lesson. And here's your last review. There's 120 lessons. And that is it for level 4. You get this quick reference guide, which it'll have you look up certain things. So, for example, if you forget what goes on the lines when you're diagramming, there's a section on that. Grammar usage, punctuation. And this goes all the way up through level 8. So you'll reference that. Here's a peek inside the answer keys. So it's just smaller replicas of the pages with the answers written in. This is one of the spelling books. This one is Sky High Adventures. And there are multiple themes. But basically, what you do is you go through your spelling lesson on the app, and then, you know, however many words, let's say you get 4 words wrong, those are the words that you'll write out in creative ways in this half-page section right here. Or if you only get 1 word wrong, or however. So each page has 2 sections for 2 different spelling days. And this one is themed All Things in the Sky. And so that's pretty simple. You do all your work on the app. And yep, that's all I have to show you for Language Arts Level 4. I hope I didn't bore you. Sometimes I get a little bit too detailed, but I try to do a little bit more flipping through, which I guess only helps if you're paying attention to the video and not distracted with other work, which sometimes I do. But there you go. There's level 4. And we are excited to get started next week. Happy school year. Please like and subscribe.